Welcome to Tips for Practicing Social Skills While Social Distancing. I'm Colleen Kugler, Frisco ISD parent trainer, and this is the third video in a series of trainings that I've been doing since we've all been at home and engaged in e-learning through the COVID-19 pandemic. Just trying to give parents some ideas on ways that they can keep teaching their kids skills that are so necessary to raise amazing and productive adults in our society, hopefully beyond everything that we're going through right now. So, welcome, and I hope you get some good ideas on how to actually still teach social skills, even though we're supposed to be social distancing. So I love CASA, how they say in this visual and how they're leading their workforce. And they are choosing physical distancing over social distancing. And this really makes sense that we are just keeping physically distanced. That doesn't mean we need to socially distance ourselves from each other. And there are lots of creative ways we can still keep being social. And as it says here, it's now more important than ever to stay connected. This is a time when our emotions are up and down constantly through the day. Um, there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of fear and just stress overall, not just with parents, but of course with kids because they're sensing everything that we're feeling. A lot of people are concerned about their jobs, their summer vacations are canceled. Um, we don't know if we're going back to school in the fall at this point, and it's really difficult for us to be able to get ourselves figured out and in gear. Never mind prime our children, especially our kids that are on the autism spectrum that need constant priming. We're kind of at a loss. We don't know how to prime them. We can't say, well, first 2 weeks of school and then summer vacation, we don't know if we're going to the beach. We're probably not. We're not, might not be visiting grandparents like we usually do. There's a lot of changes, but we need to still focus on even more so keeping ourselves socially connected to the ones we love. It's been so fun watching all of the creative ways that people are doing this. And I've been learning from social media and, TV, media, just learning about what other people are doing and then implementing those things in my life. Talking to friends, finding out what they're doing. There's so many great ideas out there. If you don't have any of your own, learn from others, but make sure you're staying socially connected. So, as far as teaching social skills, we need to always be teaching social skills to our children, no matter which level they're at. And in order to do that, we have to be parenting consciously. We have to be aware of where our kids are at, and we have to be aware of where we need them to be. And a lot of times it's great and very important to have a plan and to have a focus. In order to do that, we have to put all the distractions away. You see the visual of the cell phone with the line through it. We have to put those distractions away and we have to really watch our children and really observe how they're engaging in social situations or not engaging in social situations. Are they making proper eye contact? If they're verbal, are they responding when someone gives them a compliment? If they're not verbal, are they using their device to respond, or are they at a different level and not giving compliments? That's a great social skill. Are they able to respond when a friend engages them? Are they only talking about the topic that they want to talk about rather than adding to conversation when somebody wants to talk about something different they're not interested in? So many different little pieces are involved in social skills. But if we're constantly making excuses for our kids to other people, if we're just thinking, oh, they'll figure that out, in a few years, or they're working on that at school. That's one of their goals at school. If we're just brushing it off constantly, then we're not consciously working on it. And we need to always be consciously working on our kids' social skills, no matter what level they're at. So we're going to look at some strategies and make sure that we are engaged with them and we are consciously parenting and working on social skills. I love this little Yoda quote here. You want to know the difference between a master and a beginner? The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. So I think that's good for us to remember as parents that our kids are going to fail socially, and they're supposed to. And that's part of life and that's part of learning. We are not expecting them to be perfect at everything they're doing. We are constantly in progress. We are constantly learning. And I know for me, myself, as us as adults, we still have things we need to learn. And we should always be working on our own social skills and consciously paying attention to how others respond to us and what could we do better. So we can't expect our kids to do things perfectly. They are always working and they're going to be failing. So we can't get completely distraught when they fail in a social situation. We just got to go, okay, this is what we're going to work on. So stopping and looking and listening are very important. Oops, I got to go back. Sorry. Now we actually do have extra time because of everything going on. We are not running to different therapies all the time. We're not running to different sporting events. We're home. Everything's canceled. So there is time to go for that walk and look at the pretty flowers in the neighbor's front yard or stop and smell the flowers in the field. Pay attention when you're on that walk. How does your child respond when somebody walks by at a safe 6 feet distance? Um, really focus on all the different social situations. Maybe you're Zooming with family members. How is your child responding to the other people? Maybe they're with their teacher on Zoom. Are they moving away from the camera and not in the space of the camera? Are they not able to sit during the time that they're supposed to within, like normal expectations? If they're supposed to be sitting for 5 minutes and attending to a task, are they able to do that? How are people responding? Are people making excuses for your child? Oh, it's okay. They don't have to say thank you. I know he's tired. Or, oh, he's probably hungry, and that's okay. No worries. Are people making excuses for our child? Are we making excuses for our child? How just really pay attention. Pretend that you're that fly on the wall and you're watching how your child is interacting with others, whether it's on Zoom or if it's walking down the street while you're going on a family walk. Pay close attention. And then once you've paid attention and there's some red flags that you're seeing, you want to start to be a gold digger. And I love this. I saw this on a purse in a shop once. I'm a gold digger. And I just love that term. I think it just makes me chuckle that let's not be gold diggers. Let's be gold diggers. Let's always have a goal. And it's so important for us to teach our children to always have goals. When all of this started, the first thing I did, I said, okay, guys, everything's canceled. I know it stinks, but now we have this extra time. What are your goals going to be while we're at home? How are we going to fill those time gaps? What kinds of cool things are we going to do? And I wanted them to know that, yes, we are now in this direction, but hey, there's great things that we can do even though things are canceled and we can't go to those things we were looking forward to. And that has led into some really cool things happening in our house and some interesting things that we've done that we never would have done otherwise. So model being a gold digger, encourage your kids to be gold diggers, to find goals that they can work on. That's that growth mindset that we've got to teach our children. We are always learning, we are always growing. What are our goals? Even if your child doesn't understand what a goal is, you can still write it down, Put it on the fridge to remind yourself. It's got to be something. If you have a goal, it should be written down or it should be put into your phone so that you're constantly reminded of what your goal is. If we forget what our goals are and we're not reminded, then we're not going to accomplish them. If we don't have somebody holding us accountable, whether it's somebody else or ourselves, they're going to be forgotten and lost. So put it somewhere where it's visual. Think about what your goals are as a family. Maybe before all this happened, you loved to go out to eat. However, you haven't been able to because your child can't sit while at a restaurant or because they have certain behaviors that they're exhibiting while out at a restaurant. That is something that's important to your family. So that could be a goal for you to work on with your child. And you can do that in the safety and comfort and privacy of your home. You can talk as a family about ways that you can increase the child's time for sitting at the table. Talk about having certain family meal rules, and that are going to help with that goal. Um, have a visual with the voice level that they're going to have while at the table. Work on eye contact, work on conversation, and it could be conversation using the Proloquo app, or it could be conversation using pictures in front of you at the table that are you're now going in the future when things open back up. We can go back out into restaurants that you can bring with you. It's actually a great time right now to work on things like that, even out in public. If you're comfortable with going to a restaurant, restaurants are only filling at this point 25% capacity, which is actually pretty ideal for working on skills with kids because you can go there and not, a lot of people aren't going out at all. So you can go to a restaurant and probably at this point not have anybody around you. So you won't set yourself up to be embarrassed or make excuses, or you can let them know ahead of time when you go in that you may have to leave early, but you're trying, you're getting out there, you're working on those skills. But this is something great to work on in the comfort and safety of your home. What are things that are important to you as a parent? Maybe it's not important to the whole family, but as a parent, maybe an example is it's important for you to socialize with the neighbors and you want to be able to go to friends' houses. And maybe culturally, you love to get together with other friends and family members and neighbors, and you all eat together and dance together and laugh together, but your child maybe has sensory issues, so that's too overwhelming for them, and you're always having to leave those parties early. So that's something you can work on at home. Each night, gradually turn your music up just a little louder, dance, laugh, get them slowly accustomed, desensitized to those noises that they're not able to deal with in other environments. You can start to replicate those fun environments that are so important to you to be a part of in your home in a slow, calm, peaceful way in your home so that they can desensitize safely without it being embarrassing for you. I would pick one goal at a time to work with your child on and make a plan for that goal. And then also really focus on what your child's strengths are and build off of those strengths. Mentally, it's so important for you to do that for yourself. Instead of always picking out what our kids are doing wrong, we really have to take the time to pick out what they're doing right and make them feel good about the things that they're good at. Maybe they have the most fantastic smile that lights up a room. We'll run with that smile, encourage that smile, let your child know that that smile changes lives and makes things amazing for people because smiles really, really do have the power to change lives. Give them the opportunity to smile on Zoom with family members or walking down the street. Encourage them to smile at others. Work off of their strengths, and their strengths will lead to better social skills. Now, it is going to be up to you, especially in this time, to teach the skills that are needed. I'm going to move this over a little bit. It is up to you. A lot of kids, some kids still are in therapies, but a lot of kids aren't. So you're actually the new therapist, and that's, we had Teacher Appreciation last week. So I want to tell all parents happy Teacher Appreciation Week. Um, and if they have a therapist week, happy therapist week. We are wearing many hats these days as parents. So it's up to you to teach the skill. You are with your child more than anyone else, and your child is watching you. Your child has been watching you since birth and listening to you and feeling what you're feeling pretty much every minute of the day, even if they're not in the same room with you in the house. They are still listening and feeling what you're feeling, and they are going to do as you do. So it is up to you to model and to gently and lovingly teach these skills. And now, like I said before, we have the golden nugget of extra time to be able to do that. So, different ways that you can teach social skills outside of just verbally telling your child and reminding your child and prompting your child to do certain things. You can use books. There are so many books that are read to kids online if you don't actually physically have the books. There you can play games. Oh my gosh, games teach such wonderful social skills at every level. We have definitely upped our game playing in our house. And there's a game for every age group, and it can be fun for everyone. So incorporate more games into your lives during this time. You can use social autopsies, which are visuals where you kind of break apart what happened in a social situation and then who was hurt by it and how you can do it better next time. Um, I have some examples of those on another page. Use visuals not only to remind your child, but to remind you of what your expectations are for your child. So maybe your child's voice volume is a little too loud. So you can have a visual of what the inside voice volume expectation is. There's also a great app for that. So you can use apps for teaching social skills. Social scripts, just little stories. There's tons of them. We have them on our website, and there, you can also just Google social script for whatever social skill, maybe conversation with friends. Just Google that, and there'll be plenty of examples for you to choose from. You can also use peers, and I'll talk about this a little later as well, but getting other kids to Zoom with your child, or maybe stand across the street and have a conversation across the street or on the phone, or maybe there's a cousin that can help with certain social skills. If you've already picked what your goal is, think about how you can work on that goal and who you can utilize. It doesn't need to always necessarily come from right you in the moment out of your brain. It can come from many different sources. I like how this says, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. And really focusing and working on these things, it isn't easy, but it is so important in raising a happy adult. And that's what we're in the business of as parents. We are raising adults. And then moving over here, home should be a safe place to make mistakes. And that is exactly the truth. I love this little cartoon where he's saying it's the family circus, and he's saying, well, you probably, I can't, it's so small, I can't read it, but the gist is that you should have taught me to use the water gun if you were going to give me one. You should have expected that I was going to use it, and the parents are soaking wet. So there's going to be situations happening within your home where you're like, oh man, that my bad. I should have taught that. And now you have the comfort of your home to backtrack and teach the skills that are needed. Okay, modeling. As I said, your kids have been watching and hearing, listening, and feeling everything since birth. So you are actually your child's very first social skills teacher and most important social skills teacher in their life. So what are you saying? If your child's saying something and you're like, oh, that's not right, and you're telling them not to, I want you to really introspect and say, Are they saying it like I'm saying it? And don't expect to change their behavior unless you've already changed your own behavior. The same as what you are doing. How are you responding to other people? Are you being respectful when out in public, or are you waving and smiling at people as you walk by them on your family walks? And when you're on the phone with a service provider, are you being respectful and are you saying thank you to others? How are you talking to your spouse? All of those little things really take the time to be real and figure out what you're doing that your child is learning from. Also, what are you paying attention to? Are you only paying attention when your child is not doing what they're supposed to do? Now is the time to really quickly flip that and give them the reinforcement. Give them that hug and smile when they're doing the things that you want. If we're always giving attention to the things we don't want, and that's how our child gets attention, then trust me, they're going to continue to do that because that's how they pull you out of your world that you're in. Maybe you're on your phone and they're going to hit their sibling. Well, ding, ding, ding. That's because that's how they get your attention. That's how they get you off the phone. So kids are brilliant that way. So really pay attention to how you're reinforcing different behaviors. And there's that old saying, do as I say, not as I do. Well, that doesn't work. Kids are absolutely going to do as you do and do as you say and do as you feel. And here are some just basic skills. Hold the door, say hello, smile, offer to help, be polite, all of those things. I just yesterday had to point out to my son the people in front of us did not hold the door open. It kind of slammed in his face. And I said, oh, how'd that make you feel? Make sure you don't do that to other people. Always hold the door. You always look back and hold the door. Those are important social skills to teach at any level. Okay, now we're talking about expressing feelings. I love this college student made these masks that show smiles. This is probably the thing that I struggle with the most right now during this pandemic is that I can't see people's smiles. I'm a very social person, and when I'm in public, I always smile at other people. And to not be able to see if they're smiling back, I think it actually kind of gives you a feeling of what it's like to be on the autism spectrum and to not be able to read the facial expressions that match the emotions. And I'm actually looking for one of those masks that has the smile visible because that is very important to me to share my smile and to see other people's smiles. So it's a hard time to teach feelings when you even can't see people's faces like this out in public. But it's so important to still work on expressing feelings. And when we're in our home, as long as we're not in masks in our home environment, we can work on that. And not only can we work on that with asking your child, well, how do you think I'm feeling? How are you feeling? How is we want to use the things that our children are engaged in. So we can use books. Point out a character in the book. How is he feeling? What do you think will happen? What do you think she wants? Ask all these engaging questions, and no matter what level your child is at, you can do this. And you can even point just to a picture and say happy, and then you smile and show that you're happy. Always work on teaching feelings and emotions and finding ways to engage your child in that learning. If there's a TV show that they absolutely love, let's say it's Peppa Pig, really sit there with your child, watch the Peppa Pig movie and ask some questions. It might irritate them a little, but at least they're learning here and there. Don't go overboard with it. You know your child, but how's Peppa Pig feeling right now? Peppa Pig, or you could just make statements. Peppa Pig is happy. Peppa Pig is sad. Work on those feelings. I do this also with a Nextdoor app with my kids, and I'll say, oh, I'll read off things that happen in the neighborhood, and I'll say, ooh, how do you think that neighbor felt about that when that person pulled their prized flower from their yard? How do you think that made them feel? Or when somebody was speeding down the road, wow, that was dangerous. If that was someone that saw that, how do you think they would feel? How would you feel if they hit somebody that you love? So you can use so many different things to express feelings, and feelings expression learning is important at every age and stage. So this is a great time to do that. And we want a lot of our kids that can express themselves. We want them to tell us when they're feeling uncomfortable or sad or confused about everything that's going on right now. That emotional piece is very important, especially now. And we can be real with our kids and just say, oh, I'm feeling a little melancholy right now. Well, that's a big word to use, but I'm feeling a little sad because our summer trip was canceled. But you know what? I'm gonna feel better later. I'm gonna think about what I can do to make myself feel better. Maybe I'm gonna have a cup of tea, or I'm gonna watch my favorite show, or let's go for a walk and get some exercise. That will make me feel better. Can you come with me? Let's be straight with our kids how we're feeling, but also show them that there's ways around the negative feelings, and really enjoy the positive feelings and let your kids know when you're feeling fantastic and why you're feeling fantastic. Okay, conversational skills. Again, we're in the comfort of our own homes. We can work on conversational skills with our kids. You can use visuals if you need to break it down to a very basic level of talking. If your child is verbal, even if your child's not verbal, you can use the Proloquo app, or you can use pictures to help your child to engage in conversations. Some kids have trouble with conversations where they're a little too conversational and they need to have some restrictions on how they're talking, and they need to learn to listen. That's a great conversation skill, learning just to be quiet and listening, learning to wait your turn, learning to stay on topic. We always have the conversation cards on our table at our house, so that if while we're eating dinner, sitting, and I want them to stay a little longer, I'll pull out a few cards and we'll have different conversations. Back when we were able to have people in our home for dinner, I realized my kids were pretty good at conversing with us as a family, and then I realized they needed to have more exposure to different other people in dinner conversation. So I made a goal that once a week I would invite someone over to dinner. So it was so awesome, and they started to learn how to have conversations with other adults and other kids that we would have over. So that was great, and I'm really looking forward to picking that back up again once we're able to have people over again. But you can have people join your dinner conversations using Zoom too. That's fun to do with family members. Have them over for dinner, but where you're Zooming together or FaceTiming together. But definitely really focus on conversational skills no matter what level. Okay, now is a great time to teach social responsibility, and I've been using this term quite frequently with my kids. Right now, we have different social responsibilities than we've had before. Keeping personal space, oh my gosh, many kids struggle with this, and it can be extremely worrisome for parents whose children are used to just running up to anybody and hugging them, because we can't do that right now. So it's a great time to really focus on work on that personal space using visuals, social scripts. There are so many things out there to help you teach personal space. I saw there's the picture on the bottom where the children in China to put the hats on that went 6 feet apart in all directions. So that helped them to learn personal space. This is something very difficult for children to learn. This is not the norm for them. And it doesn't feel right either, because we're human beings and we are social. And especially if we're from a culture who's always hugging and loving on each other, it's so difficult to change that. But that is now a social responsibility to keep our distance from others, unfortunately, for the time. Then there's the hands away from face. I know a lot of kids that struggle with constantly rubbing their noses or picking their noses, rubbing all over their faces. Now is a good time to teach, and that's actually a good social responsibility skill that they will have for life, which I think a lot of kids will be better at, to keep our hands away from our faces. Use a tissue, not our fingers. really try to be aware of how much our kids' hands are on their faces. Also, washing hands. We've all, even for me, I've learned a great new washing hands skill that I did not use before. I did not spend as much time doing that, and I really do firmly believe that we are going to be healthier because we are all going to get used to and in the habit of washing our hands a lot better than we did before. The same as covering when we cough. If you're, out and about without a mask and you cough, ooh, get ready. All those glares from others are not going to be fun to deal with if you care about that at all as a parent. Teach your children to cover with their put their head in their elbow when they cough or they sneeze. Also, keeping our area clean. That's also teaching social responsibility. Making sure we're wiping down counters, making sure we're putting dirty dishes in the sink, respecting our living space because we're all in close quarters together now and we're around each other a lot. So it's really good to teach the skill of keeping our area clean so that we can live with others and do it respectfully. Also, if you're going on a lot more walks with your family and you have a dog that you're walking, teaching your child that you have to pick up if they go to the bathroom in the neighbor's grass. That's also social responsibility and a great skill to teach. Pick up after yourself. If you drop something in the street, pick it up. That's social responsibility, and it's a great social skill to teach. So there are many good things that are going to come out of this as far as teaching all these skills, as long as we're focusing on them and teaching them. So other different ways to teach social skills to our kids are using role playing. There's a student on the autism spectrum that presented at one of our group parent trainings, and he has the most amazing social skills. He was able to get in front of the whole group and put on this great presentation. And one of my questions to him was, how did you learn these fabulous social skills? What was it that was the biggest thing for you that helped you? And he said that his mom would role play with him through everything. And it was his mom who taught him his social skills through that role play. So I just found that so wonderful and it's so true. If you're practicing situations and you're, doing them over and over until you're able to do them somewhat correctly, that is going to give you confidence in the situation and it's going to make you just overall feel better about being in this situation. It's going to look better for everyone. So there's some different problem solving scenarios on the visual here. What happens if someone else has something that you want? What could you do? What if another student says mean things to you? There are so many what ifs and what should you do if. There are plenty of visuals out there and lists that you can search and find and start working on at home. Those can also be items that are in those conversation cards that you have at your dinner table, or you can talk about them in the car, or you can just practice really basic skills with your child if they're nonverbal. You smile and then give them reinforcement for smiling back. And then you smile, give them reinforcement for smiling back. Encourage them to make eye contact so they make eye contact back. Try a greeting with them. Practice greetings and then they greet back. Then have the sibling practice greetings with the child and they give eye contact and smile back. Every level of social skills can be practiced using that role playing skill. So here I have also self-advocating practice, how to help yourself in different situations. This is great for kids that are on that higher social level. If you're having trouble with a teacher, and I've worked on this with my own kids, especially now during e-learning, if they struggle with sending a project to a teacher or something's not uploading, I've encouraged them and taught them to self-advocate by emailing the teacher and telling the teacher what the issue is, or encouraging them to go in during the Zoom hours that the teacher's offering and tell them what they're struggling with. So teaching your kids self-advocacy is another great skill. This kind of page on the right, if I can move this over, goes through 7 important social skills for kids, and you'll see things like this all over the internet if you Google social skills. Sharing, cooperating, listening, following directions, respecting personal space, making eye contact, and using manners. Those are all things that you can practice in your home using role playing, using games, just practicing over and over in the comfort of your home. Okay, as I discussed playing games, so game playing, as I said, has so many great social skills involved in it. And there are so many things you can learn no matter what the level of the game. So I'm going to go over to the pictures here, and I love that family circus cartoon on the bottom because that's typically what happens during game playing when you have siblings involved, and sometimes even when it's parents involved. There's always someone that runs off to tell or gets mad, and there's frustration. And yes, this is part of it. This is part of learning, and this is part of playing games. So it doesn't mean no more game playing. It means let's play again. Let's play tomorrow. Try a different game. Let's work through that skill because obviously something's going awry there, and that is real life. That is what is going to happen. So you've got to work through it and try again. The upper picture is me and my daughter, and that was our exchange student playing Monopoly. Now, Monopoly was not a favorite game of mine growing up because it takes so long to play, and I don't love all the money and saving and buying and having to pay rent and all that. But my exchange student, he wants to be an accountant, so this was a game that he absolutely loved. So we played pretty frequently with him, and I'm so glad I did because I really learned to enjoy it, and we had the extra time to spend to play it from beginning to finish. And of course, there were even social skills for those teenagers to learn while playing that game, and we all learned from that and had a great time and have great memories of that now together. Actually, he had to go back because of all this, and I sent him with a travel Monopoly game so he could keep playing. There are some great visuals out there for helping with game playing. If you need those visual rules for your child, here's 3 examples. Hands away from board unless it is your turn. Wait patiently for your turn. Win politely. Tell the other player, good game, thanks for playing. Those are skills that are many times needed to be taught. So you're going to learn taking turns, being a good loser, being a good winner, sharing, working together, waiting, following rules, following directions, and listening. Those are all wonderful social skills that you can easily learn playing games. Card games are also absolutely fantastic, and there's many card games out there that work great for all levels. And Amazon can deliver those games very quickly. Unfortunately, our lending library is closed, but we have tons of games in our lending library. So when everything opens back up, make sure you take some time to go in there and check out some games. Okay, siblings are great social skills teachers. One of the things that I love about all of this is how much time I'm seeing siblings spend together. Now, I know that can create issues in some homes, and in fact, all homes, I'm sure there are issues from time to time. But at the same time, I'm seeing siblings going for walks together, going for bike rides together, pictures of them playing games together or cooking together. These are all those things that they may not have had the time to do before, or that time might have been filled with their friends or their therapies or their sports activities. So there are a lot of great sibling memories that are being made through all of this. And siblings, no matter what level either sibling is at, can be great social skills teachers. So here's a few pictures. There's a student, a middle school student with autism is doing yoga with her younger sibling, and they are working together on that yoga and enjoying time together and teaching each other. So I just love that. And we have some siblings that are cooking together, and I talked about this extensively in the self-help chores and responsibilities training that I did last. about how great it is to get your kids involved in cooking, learning those cooking skills. They're more apt to eat those healthy foods and learning to work together as well. So, and then on the top right is another in-home parent trainers children, and they are decorating cookies, and they don't have to worry about social distancing with each other since they're siblings. So let's take advantage of that. We can get them as close as possible and just enjoy every moment, and make sure you catch them on camera so you don't forget that they were once that close and enjoying each other's presence that much. The bottom left is my kids went out for a run together. They've been running together, playing tennis together, and it's been so great. And I know that they're always going to treasure these memories of this time together, and it's very special. So there are many silver linings. The next bottom picture is another in-home parent trainer's twin daughters doing artwork together, filling that time and creating memories just the same. And then these are siblings that I have involved in our Sib Shop workshop, and the picture on the left is when we actually got to do Sib Shop in person, and then on the right is a Zoom Sib Shop picture. So they are being with their siblings, and they can help teach social skills to their siblings, and it's also a great experience for them to get to be a teacher. Here's a visual. When someone is hurting or annoying me, I will look at them, put my hand up in a stop sign, say to the person, stop it, I don't like it. And if it doesn't work, I will get help from a teacher, or in this situation, from a parent, because that sounds like a great visual to have for siblings being together for such a long time. Because of course there's going to be problems. That's real life. Let's learn from it. Okay, practice, practice, practice. So different ideas on ways to practice social skills while social distancing are using Zoom, FaceTime, making phone calls. Anytime that we've ordered things online or over the phone, I've had my kids do it so that they can learn those skills. Um, Sending letters. We've been taking a lot of extra time with the birthday cards that we send out. We've all been writing a little snippet on each card. Um, that whole gift of getting a letter in the mail has really increased. I know I've gotten more letters and we've sent more letters, so that's great to use to keep up socially with others. Going on walks when you can be at a distance from other people. I've seen so many people that I know and friends, because we try to walk as far as possible. So we've been getting great exercise, which really helps with your mood and your behavior, helps you sleep better, helps you eat better, and helps you stay social. I've had a lot of fun. What I like doing and I do with my kids is we do those pathways that go behind people's houses, and then we'll text whoever we're passing by, and then they'll wave from their window, or they'll come outside and stay at a distance and talk with us. And those moments that I'm able to connect with people in that way really uplifts me. And we're all practicing our social skills while we're still social distancing. I know a lot of people are still getting together, but maybe in their back alleyways or front yards, just putting lawn chairs out. I'm having so much fun with the bear hunt that everybody's doing. So we have a huge teddy bear that had just been taking up room in our media room upstairs. So what I've done every day, and I told the little children that we have living next door that they can look out, because every day I'm going to hide the bear somewhere in my front yard, somewhere different. So that's been so fun for me, and I've actually heard them out there like squealing with delight when they found the bear in a tree, or the bear on our swing, or on a rocking chair on our front porch. So I've been having so much fun being creative with putting the bear different places, and I see the many children walking by through the day, and I believe a lot of them have caught on to the fact that the bear is always somewhere different, so they're looking for where the bear is. So that's teaching my kids also service to others. It's not about what makes us happy. It actually makes us happy, making other people happy and doing fun little things. We've left the little rocks painted. We've painted rocks and left them around in the pathways around our house, and If you have the opportunity to bring food to a neighbor who can't get out, doing little things like that where they're able to deliver it can teach your child service to others and how that makes us feel so good. A lot of people are doing virtual gatherings. If you can connect your child to other kids in their class, even if they're nonverbal and they're not going to be chatting up a storm with each other, I think it's so important for them to see each other's faces and feel socially connected. Maybe you can have them show their favorite items and do kind of like a lot of people are doing the scavenger hunts, or find ways for them to connect with others on Zoom. Also with grandparents, family members, cousins. So important that we're finding creative ways to still stay connected. Over here is pictures of our teen squad, our teens on the autism spectrum all get together, and they're used to getting together twice a month, once a month to learn skills, once a month to socialize. So they're really missing each other, but they've been getting together, Zooming. Um, and up in the top left, like just write a sign and bring it to your teacher's house if you know where she lives, or take a picture of you holding the sign and text it to your teacher. All of those things warm our hearts and help us get through this. And that is all. So I hope that you learned some new tips and techniques for teaching social skills while social distancing. This is a great time to just hone in on those things that need to be tweaked or completely learned from scratch. So if you have questions and you need some strategies, feel free to email me and or the other in-home parent trainers that you may work with, and know that we are, as we see all the time, all this, everything saying that we are in this together and we are happy to support you. So good luck and happy socializing.